And the second question is, where were Vitality actually going to try to strike? So the thing about Schalke is they don't have a lot of firepower or teeth, bite, whatever you want to call it. They don't play that aggressive in lane outside of Upset and IgNar. So were Vitality going to try to match them for that firepower in the bot lane, give power to Attila and Jactroll? Was it going to be through Jiizuke, or was it going to be through Cabochard with triple top lane ban?
That is the big question, as you say. The triple top lane ban may be showing that Cabochard wants to get his hands on something strong, but I do see Yuumi sneaking through picks and bans so far. Sylas locked in first for Schalke, could go to Trick, could go to Abbedagge in the mid lane, and Xayah Rakan immediately from Attila and Jactroll. Vitality showing us they want to play through bot.
But here's the thing. Jactroll is not a Rakan player. Yes, he can play it, but it hasn't been one of the picks that Vitality go through. Now, as we look across the other side on Schalke, this is Europe. When you play Caitlyn Morgana, you get a split map on you. Every single time this happens, you want to invade, split the map so that one jungler gets top side, one jungler gets bot side, and you allow Morgana and Caitlyn to push. Vitality know this is coming. Schalke know that that's what they want to do. I'm curious if Schalke will get away with it. If they're going to be able to unlock this Caitlyn and Morgana lane to continuously be pushed forward, or Vitality will draw a line in the sand, say, no, 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 you do not get to split the map on us. We will gank you if you push too far forward.
It feels a lot of it comes down to how the junglers play around that bottom side of the map. We've seen Trick come into Schalke this summer and really revolutionize the way this team plays in the early game. Mowgli doesn't usually spend that much time around his laners early on, but we'll see here if Vitality are going to put a little bit more impetus down towards that bottom side.
As long as Mowgli gets something quite proactive from the jungler that has early gank potential, he has the setup from Jactroll on the Rakan, so you could try to see Mowgli punish this Morgana and this Caitlyn from Upset IgNar.
We'll see if Vitality are able to get Mowgli on something strong. Things like the Jarvan spring to mind immediately. Olaf and Mordekaiser are moved here in the second ban phase by Vitality. Tristana taken away by Schalke. That's a solo lane Trist that they're banning out. We have seen Jiizuke play it once already, this split of course.
I think if you're Schalke, you might want to think about pinching the Sejuani here. They feel that they have a Sylas that can be flexed into either the mid lane or in the jungle, so they might not be so threatened by Sejuani because Sylas can use that power against her. So instead they start to go towards one of those pocket picks of Jiizuke with the Rise.
Instant pick Karthus here from Vitality though. As you say, the pocket pick for Jiizuke in the Rise getting taken away can be impactful, but Vitality have a game plan. They are coming into this one prepared and ready for anything Schalke throws at them.
And then reminder, if this is Mowgli's jungle Karthus, you need to have very strong laners. Now he already has this setup between his Xayah Rakan bot lane who have great push, then can try to match the Caitlyn Morgana push, as well as the Jayce. But if things start to go sideways, if one of these lanes breaks down because someone makes an early misplay, suddenly Mowgli is on a very far back foot and is unable to get this Karthus into the mid game where he's so powerful.
Karthus scales so incredibly well throughout the game, but you do need to get him rolling early on. If you get shut down, you really have no impact. And with Schalke having things like the Black Shield, like the shield on the second proc of Abscond Abduct from the Sylas, actually becomes very difficult to burst through some of these tanky Schalke members. There's the Sejuani you talked about earlier. It's the 5th time we've seen Trick play it this split, and he has been incredibly impactful on it for Schalke.
Yeah, but on the other side, we have the pivot. It is not going to be the jungle Karthus. It's instead going to be Jiizuke taking that pick into the mid lane. Now, he has played it already once this season in the mid lane. Didn't really work out for them, and I'm curious if they're going to change up those summoner spells.
I'm really excited right now. Smite mid Karthus could be on the cards. We have occasionally seen people outside of the jungle take Smite. You know, Soraka top with Smite. There's a little bit of a meme in the LEC, but it does enable you to farm up even quicker. You can start looking towards those Razorbeaks, stealing them away from the enemy jungler, and you have incredible push in that mid lane. It's locked in. It will be Smite here for Jiizuke.
It also gives you access to the jungle item, which is actually a really cost-efficient item in terms of getting your AP out. So while not only you get to kind of hyper farm on a Karthus, having the Smite contesting those rafters, it also gives you some different itemization that you wouldn't normally have access to.
We wondered coming into this pick and ban if we would have a series-defining draft in Game 1. It's the time that teams can experiment. You don't lose too much if you bring out something new in Game 1 and lose in a best of 5. But here we see Vitality laying down the gauntlet. Smite Karthus mid, Graves in the jungle. Schalke, on the other hand, have gone for something very conventional. A bit of scaling, a bit of strength. We'll see if Vitality are able to find that skirmish style, that animal style that they have been looking for all split. So far, they have been very much on the back foot, but today they make their stand.
It is expected versus unexpected. The control versus the chaos that Vitality can bring here. On one side, you have Schalke's draft, a picture-perfect Schalke draft. They basically got everything that has made them the bread and butter of their season so far. Level 6 ultimates, super front-to-back team fighting, and a lot of comfort picks. And on the other side, it's Vitality throwing a wrench right out the gate with this Karthus smite mid.
And already they're going for a little bit of an invade at level 1. It was spotted out by Schalke, even landed a Dark Binding onto Attila, but Vitality will just use this time to get some vision control. That's a control ward going into that bush right there, and this is a lot of damage coming down onto Jactroll. Upset, getting the headshots off across the wall. Schalke are very aware of where Vitality is standing.
And reminder, it's really strong for Vitality to look for these types of invades because they're still dealing with a double smite.
Okay, he realized he's on a control ward after a second there. Perhaps just wasn't expected it to be in there. Jiizuke is going to face check straight into Odoamne and Abbedagge. Trick coming in from the side. Upset has a flank position. IgNar has a flank position. Looking for the binding, and Vitality just staying around. This is a 5v5 brawl at level 1. We wanted chaos, we wanted fights, and that's going to happen. Jactroll jumping in, Schalke going low, Trick having to flash away, and now having to run away. Mowgli, oh, you see the damage coming down onto him already. Vitality looking for the traces. Jiizuke hits level 2, but Jactroll's so low. Abbedagge going in, Odo flashing forward. Cabo trying to bring the hammer down, but Upset goes one more. It's a double for the Caitlyn, and Vitality are falling to pieces. This could be it. This could be the series defined at level 1 in game 1 before 2 minutes are even on the clock. Schalke are 3-0 up.
So let's talk real talk. If this was a scrim, immediately both teams pause and Vitality says, remake please. You now have a triple kill Caitlyn. Yes, she doesn't have access to flash, but she is going to get a massive buy when she eventually does respawn. At most times, this is the ender of pro games.
And you can see in this Alien where we play, Vitality were not giving up this fight.
And you can kind of understand what they're thinking. We have double smite, we want to contest the Raptors, we have Jayce, who is such a powerful champion level 1, Rakan, so like the idea is there, the execution, however, falls apart. Schalke are very good at 5v5, even at level 1, in terms of when they need to engage, when they need to play it fast, and they just outplay Vitality there.
Oh, it's incredible stuff, and of course all the kills going over towards Upset is only going to snowball that lane even more. You talked a little bit about split map early on in the draft, that whether Schalke would be able to play through the push presence they can have in this bot lane. Having a 3-kill Caitlyn makes that even easier for you to do.
But it also means that you don't have to rely on splitting the map to make Morgana Caitlyn so powerful. One of the reasons why this lane is so difficult to deal with is its safety and its push power. And again, now that you have those 3 kills, you don't have to invade and then force the enemy jungler to play topside while the Caitlyn Morgana lane gets their jungler playing bot side. You just need to make your back, have a BF sword, and you're already a bully.
We want to keep our eyes on that Karthus in the mid lane as well. You can actually see Jiizuke is coming down here. He's going to be gifted over this Scuttle Crab by Mowgli as Mowgli tries to contest Trick on the top side. Trick able to get there first, going in. Mowgli, of course, no flash after that level 1. Trick just needs one more auto, locks him up. Abbedagge on the chase, and Mowgli will pay for the sacrifice with his life. Jiizuke gets the Scuttle Crab, but Schalke get the kill.
This is from bad to worse for Vitality, but we are buckled in for this best of 5, so we cannot simply go GG next. Multiple ways for Schalke to attack this map, however. They got basically everything that they wanted. They now have complete control over top side of the map. Again, when Upset finally gets his back, he's going to have complete control over bottom side, even if he kills Jactroll here.
Won't quite be able to do it, as Jactroll was able to dodge away. Has gone for the cleanse on the Rakan.
It's the respect.
Yeah, you have to do it. When you're going into a Dark Binding and a Caitlyn trap, you can be locked up for a very long time. Now, Upset's going to back. And I, for one, know he's got about 2,000 gold in his back pocket. BF sword, 4 minutes in on a Caitlyn in an oppressive lane is going to be very, very hard for Vitality to deal with.
It means that bot lane's over, and the unfortunate thing for Vitality fans is that it's a Mountain Dragon that's going to be spawning. So this power of having such an early BS sword, yeah, you've got double smite, and you can see that Vitality are constantly trying to force mid lane and then use this priority to cheat down towards the bottom side. But if this gank doesn't work out, like, all hope is lost.
Here goes Jactroll, next Caliber Net will get Upset away, the binding doesn't connect, and the gank didn't work for Froskurinn. Jiizuke just came in with the Wall of Pain, will land some pebbles onto IgNar, but won't be able to do too much more. May just stay around and try and keep Upset and IgNar underneath their tower for the time being.
Yeah, but that was pulling multiple members. Not only was Jiizuke there, but Mowgli was quick behind him, as now some trading up into the top side. And yeah, I think all hope is lost for Attila and Jactroll. At this point, they're just going to try to survive this lane. They can't look for a swap this early on until the Herald spawns. And again, it's such a high priority dragon that this is a real feels bad for Vitality and how they're going to control this bot lane river.
I do want to talk a little bit about how this extrapolates to the rest of the map, because there was so much action, we didn't really get to break down, you know, how these teams would want to play in the early game, what their expectations were for the first 10 minutes of the match, and we're not going to get to do it right now, because Cabochard's been caught out by Abbedagge. The chase is on, Odoamne still there, Cabo with a jump across the wall, but Odo chases him down with the boomerang, and Schalke have 5 on the board 5 minutes in.
But this is one of the advantages that it goes to the rest of the map. You know, is Jiizuke and Mowgli are spending so much of their time and kind of missing these back resets because they're trying to protect Attila and Jactroll bottom. It means that Abba gets mid lane priority and can look for roams like that to start impacting the top lane. So this is all connected together as one weakness is bleeding into another.
Just allows you to do so much more across the map. Trick down towards this bottom side, just helping out his laners. 2,500 gold lead for Schalke early on.
This is actually pretty cool. I'll hold it.
It is pretty cool as Mowgli almost goes down to Abbedagge. Not quite gonna fall. Abbedagge steals it away! Collateral damage, another one down, and Vitality are bleeding on every part of the map.
In theory, this could be so cool because you see that Jiizuke, it's so sad. You see that Jiizuke and Mowgli are kind of playing musical chairs with who's going to be jungling and who's in the mid lane and making sure that they're picking up like all of the available farm all at one point. But unfortunately, we are so far behind as Vitality that Abba is able to abuse level 6 to level 4 and just kill him.
Well, here comes Jiizuke down towards the bottom lane, looking for that mid lane gank. IgNar caught out just a little bit, still has the flash, has the exhaust as well, and Upset just opens up onto Jactroll, who has to jump away. And here comes Trick. Jiizuke realizes he's out of mana, and with no mana you can't really do too much. He will fall. Upset takes him. IgNar trying to dodge away from the Skittles. Doesn't even use flash. He's a beast. He avoids it all, but Mowgli, smoke screen. 7-1 to Schalke, and Vitality are feeling very much like Brazil right now.
Vitality on the board. That's what's going to count there. Very fancy footwork from IgNar, but like we said, from bad to worse. Schalke fans, you should be feeling very happy. I'm pretty sure game 1 might be over.
Yeah, it feels pretty over right now. We'll keep just watching it develop, because it's very interesting to see exactly how Vitality are trying to play around this double smite combination. Hasn't worked out too well for them as of yet, but a lot of that does come down to the level 1.
I mean, at some point you kind of have to abandon Attila and Jactroll, which hurts because they do have so much setup for you for the Rakan, and you have to turn your direction towards Cabochard and think, how can we help the top side of the map? Because bot side is done. It's now bleeding over into contesting enemy blue buffs. It's going to be full priority over the Mountain Drake. Like, bot side of the map completely belongs to Schalke.
It must be pretty bad being Attila and Jactroll in this situation, saying, hey, we're combined 0-1-0, but the Caitlyn has 4 kills. What on earth happened here? And it hasn't worked out for them at all. Schalke playing around the bottom side of the map, and can actually see Jiizuke saying, okay, I can play top side. I'm going to go and try and steal away this blue buff.
Yeah, it's Jiizuke finding the small window, the only time that he can get something back. As I say that, though, Odo actually stuck his head around, so maybe almost scary for Jiizuke, but we finally get a blue buff.
I mean, Odo could look for the jump across the wall here if Abbedagge was going to come in for the chase. Misses the boomerang toss, and Jiizuke will just escape to fight another day. There's a mountain dragon down towards this bottom side, and Attila and Jactroll have decided they don't want to play bot lane anyway. Going to play in the mid lane for the moment. Instead, we'll just go down back towards bot lane, but it's so dangerous for them.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to constantly see Jactroll and Attila do, which is to shove the wave into Upset. Upset can take his merry time. If he ever gets a freeze onto his side of the lane, then it's even more punishing. And then Jactroll and Attila are going to look at mid and say, is there anything that we can get done here? And as long as Abba is playing well with that recognition that people are roaming into his lane, then again, it's just going to slowly bleed out Vitality as Schalke are going to continue to get resources funneled into them, and Vitality will be starved for them on the other side.
And that tends to be how Schalke play games. If they get an early game lead, especially when they're looking towards, you know, these level 6 marks on things like the Sejuani, on things like the Sylas, they then just slowly use that lead to suffocate the enemy team. They take plates, they look for those objectives like the Rift Herald, like the Mountain Drake, and it becomes very hard for the enemy team actually to find any avenue back into the game.
Do have a bit of a play possibly being set up on the top side. So we usually talk about Schalke as kind of this level 6 team defined by Trick's level 6. He loves playing level 6 junglers, Sejuani, Skarner, Qiyana, these big ultimates to play around. He now finally has access to it, and you can see that Schalke setting up a potential dive. I think without having access to the Mega Gnar, since it's just faded, it's probably just going to be a security net to help push that wave in, as now bot lane.
Upset's already level 7, has used the ace in the hole, and Abbedagge is coming across as well, but 2 good wards will spot him out on his rotation, and Attila and Jactroll realize they do not want to stay around for too much longer. I do want to give a little bit of credit to Vitality. Having those wards in when they really haven't had that much control of the river is just working around the windows when the enemy's backing, finding opportunities to get a bit of vision in, and it means that they don't die to ganks like that. So they keep themselves just that little bit closer to being in the game.
And again, kind of the interesting nature of having this Graves, Karthus musical chairs, because again, Mowgli in the mid lane while Jiizuke has been power farming through the jungle and kind of securing both scuttles, is now that you have access to the Karthus ultimate, it is quite dangerous for Schalke to commit one way or the other in terms of dives, because Vitality could instantly have numbers advantage there or instantly collapse to one side. So Schalke instead kind of focusing on the monster objectives with a very early Herald take by Trick.
Getting that Herald just opens up one of those towers in a little bit of time. Down in the bottom lane, Attila is pretty even on CS here. Again, a little bit of credit across towards Vitality. Although they have been pushed miles behind in this lane, they've been able to hold on quite well. And with Jiizuke coming down again, he hasn't really spent much time in the mid lane. It's kind of like he's off-rolling as a jungler in a ranked game this match.
I think in a perfect world, if this works out well for them, it's kind of almost like a double funnel, in that you're, again, feeding so many resources into two champions and then trying to springboard Karthus and Graves ahead of the clock, so you have like massive kill threat. Because imagine the burst damage between a Graves ultimate when he's just like so much farther ahead than you, and then a Karthus ultimate on top of it. You'd basically 100-0 anyone, but because everything else fell apart, I don't know if they have that same kill threat.
Well, the funnel hasn't really been working for them. Schalke were 3,062 gold ahead at the 10-minute mark. The largest lead they had before today was 2,700, so they have just showed how powerful they can be in the early game. And Jiizuke is about 1,100 gold behind in that mid lane as well. So although the double, a lot of it comes down to the level 1, and we will mention it over and over again, but maybe Vitality can start to get some more resources on Jiizuke and Mowgli and look for some of those powerful team fights you were talking about.
Yeah, and the scaling potential is still there. You still have a Karthus Xayah. Now, a later Mountain Dragon, again, Schalke have had control over this river for the entire time, so this was the pick and choose about when they wanted to take it. There's no reason to force yourself into an unfortunate fight early, because you know it's going to be yours anyway. You just kind of wait till when the moment's good for you. I expect the Herald to be used here bottom, just because if you unlock this Caitlyn, it's kind of the decision of, do you unlock the Caitlyn and then have her start rotating around the map, or do you try to hold the tower to keep funneling free gold into the Caitlyn, wait till she has her item, and then start rotating around? But I think after this plate gank, she's going to have the second item. Yeah,
she's now already got the Infinity Edge, looking for those plates. Anyone else who's confused like me for a moment there, it was Sylas who'd stolen the Requiem away, who used it, which is why it hit onto Vitality. Jactroll looking for the engage here. Black Shield used on upset, but already Attila is dead, and Mowgli will be sure to follow. It's so easy for Schalke. They're tanking the tower, they're taking the kills, and Vitality can do nothing about it.
This is an Infinity Edge Caitlyn at 12 minutes into the game. The tower falls at 13 minutes. The Requiem was used by Abbedagge to try to dissuade Vitality from looking for that fight. Vitality take it anyway, and they're doubled down on the punishment. Upset is now 5-0-2.
I think doubling down is kind of Vitality's motto. We saw it at the level 1, even though they were caught out, they still went for it, and then we see it again there. Cabochard trying to get away here. Odoamne looking for the Gnar into the wall, did have the flash, but isn't going to use it. Yes, Abbedagge is chased away. Jiizuke on his way across. Doesn't have the Requiem, so isn't really going to be able to add too much to this as Abbedagge dodges away from Cabo. And now we'll see where that Caitlyn Morgana lane goes. Could go mid, could go top, of course.
I have a feeling it'll probably go up into the top lane. It's not as necessary to control this, though. I'll hold it. It's not as necessary to control this portion of the map because Rift Herald has been taken.
And so opening up either of those two towers really helps you set up the game pretty well. I think we're all kind of expecting a fight. Whenever Vitality get close to their opponents, you kind of expect them to go in. But for the moment, they hold off fire, and Schalke will be very happy just chipping away at that tower. We're going to see that play down towards the bottom lane once again.
So they actually outplay the Black Shield as well, because they use it on upset, and then Jactroll very quickly pivots to hitting the support IgNar. But again, you're playing at such a disadvantage across from upset, who is massive, that it doesn't matter if Vitality find the right target selection in the fight. Schalke are just going to brute force through it anyway.
I'm just having a quick look at the headshot damage. It does an extra 251 damage right now, and Attila has 1,100 HP. So that's about a third of your HP per headshot that's going away if Upset can connect.
And think of how many plates Upset has gotten before the plates fell off. The mid tower is now down. The bot tower is down. This guy, very wealthy.
15 minutes in, there's a 7,000 gold lead for Vitality, and you have to feel it's all done but the Nexus falling right now. Vitality trying to defend. Jiizuke counter-invading the Wolves, trying to get some of that gold onto himself.
What is he supposed to do if he shows up?
I'm not saying it's a bad decision. I'm just saying that's what he's doing right now.
I mean, like, the silver lining in this is that it's very easy for Vitality to go backstage and be like, okay, guys, this one was on the level 1. Maybe we just don't do that. We try to run this back. But on the other side, Schalke are like, okay, that's 1 game down.
Yep.
What are you going to run next?
I totally agree with you, but also I feel like that level 1 is kind of indicative of just how Vitality likes to play the game. They take those 50-50s, they take those like skirmish-heavy fights. Like, we always used to talk about them as like the LPL-style team, where if they see someone they can kill, they'll try and kill them until they're dead.
It's believing that you're the 51%, that it's never actually an even fight.
Schalke are gaining control of this top side of the jungle, still 4 minutes before the Baron spawns, but they have had an impeccable early game gifted to them by those early kills. And we did ask a few questions, you know, a few weeks middle of the split, whether Schalke could actually play aggressively in the early game, whether they could snowball advantages away from teams because they were more of a mid-game team fight orientated squad. And they do still excel at team fights, but since probably week 9, we really started to see them up the tempo in some of their games, especially when they're playing against Vitality.
Especially when they get upset so far ahead. Yeah. The thing that Schalke really excel in is front-to-back team fighting. They work really well with Sejuani. He's kind of like a super tank. And when you have an AD carry as talented as Upset, as long as you just put meat in front of him, he will do the work for you.
Jactroll was looking for the engage there, but the Black Shield will hold him off. Caught in the binding. Odo and Cabochard trading on towards the top side as Odo flashes away. Cabo doesn't have a flash of his own. Upset looking for the damage as Attila goes low. Requiem used, not going to do too much, but Odo might get taken out. Gifted over to Jiizuke, and Vitality have a kill on their mid laner.
And that's kind of what Vitality really need to look for. They need to isolate and pick fights where Upset is not a factor in them. So they kind of pick the one winning fight that they have, which is using that Requiem in tandem with the Cabochard versus Odo. Now, meanwhile, while that was happening, yes, Vitality did get the kill, but it's still a map win for Schalke because they're continuing to eat up all of these towers.
Yeah, getting another 2 towers there, 5-0 on the scoreboard. They're looking for their second Drake of the game as well. It will be a Cloud. Let's have a look across some of these items. Upset is sitting on an Infinity Edge and a Rapid Fire Cannon building up towards his next. You've only got an Essence Reaver on Attila, but I do want to bring just a little bit of attention to the fact that Jiizuke has a Medjai's Soul Stealer now on the Karthus.
And hopefully he can get that to 20 stacks, because I think that's the only chance Vitality have to really feel comfortable coming back. Taking another look at this one, they zone away, Vitality zone away Schalke from protecting Odo. Odo's forced to burn the flash very early, but then Cabo knows that he has the 1v1 with the Requiem in his back pocket.
Yeah, and you give the kill over towards your Karthus, you get him scaling up as much as possible. With 2 minutes left on the clock before the ban, we have to expect Schalke will be looking towards that. And earlier today, Jactroll had some choice words. He said, we will absolutely destroy and dismantle them.
This is BM. XD.
Odoamne with the XD response. I mean, it's a little bit...
Did he tweet that from in-game?
No. He wishes. Cabochard still trading here onto Odoamne, who is really just being the meatball for Schalke, the meat bag. He's kind of the one taking all of the pressure and just absorbing it as much as possible while the rest of his team looks towards the top side of the map.
So this is a twofold game plan from Vitality. Number 1 is stay the hell away from Upset, and number 2 is get behind Cabochard.
Yep.
And that is Vitality's game plan right now. Schalke, as long as Odoamne wants to soak up all of this attention as people keep running at him, they continue to make cross-map plays, and as long as they're always trading something, either farm onto super carries or taking objectives, it's still a net positive for Schalke.
Well, we'll see what Schalke decide to do here, because they have 4 players on the top side of the map, and 3 of Vitality are heading down towards bot. Trick coming down as well. I'm not sure they know Jiizuke is waiting here. Now they do, as the control ward spots him out. Odoamne looking for that Mega Gnar, needs to build it up pretty quickly. The teleport comes out, and they're looking for the fight as Abbedagge is going to join it. And here is Trick off towards the top side. Jiizuke forced back behind the tower. Trick's going to catch on to Jactroll. Abbedagge still chasing onto the Karthus. He'll take him out. And meanwhile, on the top side of the fight, the teleport was cancelled. Cabochard has nowhere to go. Tries to flash away, but he will not survive to fight another day. Trick takes him down, and it's too easy. Jactroll dies as well. Upset's dominating. And Schalke are just picking Vitality up.
We're actually so early on in the game that Schalke are actually trying to figure out what to take next, because they got everything on the map. They are really reliant on the Baron to break the base, because it's still so early on that if you're just funneling into the base, you're so close you're able to clear it out. But Vitality, by trying to force plays, Schalke are managing to find these wins, but otherwise we're waiting for Baron to spawn.
I just want to bring people's attention to the player cams from time to time. When it switches to Jiizuke,
he's cracking up.
I'm just watching him laugh. Okay, I'm just watching him giggle. Jactroll's having a laugh. Mowgli's having a smile as well.
You know what happened this game.
That's the thing. It's a very easy point of weakness to identify, and the idea is don't put 5 players in the enemy jungle at level 1. You fix that, maybe you can take a win.
I mean, I'm happy that spirits seem to be high for Vitality. Mental is always an issue that we have to talk about in these long best of 5s. That said, Schalke have had to show nothing here. They didn't reveal any of their picks. If they have crazy stuff, if they're actually pushed to their limits, then they could pull out something even more bizarre, already having a leg up in this best of 5, so.
First game is always a bonus, but it does not define the series. You can see Upset here. I think he probably just gets... Yep, ace in the hole. That's enough damage to take him out. Oh, I didn't actually notice that IgNar had died, so good stuff there from Mowgli. Gets his 2nd kill of the game. 66% of the kills being on that Graves. Usually that would be more impactful, but here it's only 2, so it doesn't really matter too much. Jactroll's going to face check straight into IgNar. Upset on his way as well, and as we all know, that Dark Binding lasts an absolute light year. He's caught out. Upset goes godlike. And now Schalke will turn their eyes straight over to the next objective, which is the Baron.
Still need to respect that. That's double smite.
Do you?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, we'll see how close they get to the pit. Did they increase smite range on 916, Frost?
They're not going to get close to the pit. Okay.
Here we
Who's being brave today?
Jiizuke's trying, but look, actually, Trick is very low here. Oh. They respected it. They took down one of the smites for you. Okay, Schalke going to get the Baron. 22 minutes in, they have an insurmountable lead. 11,000 gold ahead. And this one has been all but done since level 1. Schalke will now use this to push in at least 2 lanes. Odo can hold his own against Cabochard with Baroned up minions. And we expect to see Upset in a lane, Abbedagge in a lane, and then Trick and IgNar rotating between the 2.
So this is the hope. Vitality pull the 300. They hold them there at the base gates, fight their way back from hell.
This is no Battle of Thermopylae, okay?
You want massive burst damage. You want Cabochard and Mowgli's ultimate to hit like simultaneously. Hopefully at that point, Jiizuke presses ultimate and everyone dies. Probably won't happen, because Upset, I think if he actually just hits Jactroll once and he gets a crit, he might just kill him.
Here's the major issue though. Jiizuke lost all of his Magi stack. Now Jactroll looking for the flank position.
The Hilly! No!
We'll call this one the Jactroll.
Oh no!
Oh no, indeed. He's going to escape for the moment. He pops the quickness to try and win. He's delayed.
This is perfect. He's distracting them.
This is almost an entire minute of Baron buff that he has wasted.
Oh, Schalke, they figured it out. They turned around. No, Jactroll, get the minions.
He's going to get out. He's going to get out. You can't catch Rakan.
That's a win.
That's the Jactroll, everybody. That's the Jactroll. Now Schalke realize, oh, we could have been hitting the inhibitor towers for this entire time. They take down mid inhib. They'll take down, oh, they're taking down inhib. No! No! He joins VODS.
I'd like a moment of silence.
So would Vitality. Schalke going to push in the bot lane inhibitor tower here. The inhibitor next on the menu for them. 23 minutes in, they have just demolished Vitality here.
Look at Upset.
Oh my God. Goodness gracious me. Attila takes half his HP, and Schalke should just look for the win. Odoamne is bringing a wave in, but they could just use the TP onto this cannon minion, or one of these minions. There we are. Pops in, looking for the first. There's the quickness going out from Jiizuke, but that was a kill. It was Jactroll? Jactroll went in. No, Jiizuke went in. That was very odd to me. Requiem comes out. Trick going forward with the Glacial Prism, and Cabochard will fall. It's all done, but the Nexus falling. Mowgli flashes back. They get a kill. The crowd goes mild. Schalke will get the second Nexus tower. They're just going to wait to take down the Nexus. Vitality trying to defend. Upset getting the damage in where he can. A couple of auto attacks onto Jactroll will be enough to send them packing, and Schalke go 1-0 up in this series.
So when does playoffs start?
Scrim's going well. But yes, that was a strong performance by Schalke. They used all the advantages that Vitality gave them in the early game. A 23-57-minute win. 3 minutes quicker, or thereabouts, than their fastest win before today. And I think, like, we joke about it a little bit, but if you're Vitality, you go back in there and you say, okay, we don't invade level 1 and we actually might have a game on our hands. Schalke will be very happy to take a 1-0 lead, but now it's just a handicapped series more than anything else.
And I agree with you. I do want to credit Schalke, like you were saying during the game. It's one thing to be handed a lead, but you do also need to know how to execute on it. Schalke picked the right lane every single time. They unlocked their bot lane. As soon as they had access to the Infinity Edge, they rotated the Caitlyn around. They took all the towers. There was like no wasted time and no wasted effort for Schalke to just, okay, you gave us the advantage, we'll close the book on you. And that's kind of that's what we want people to take away with Schalke. They're the fundamental League of Legends team.
That's the playstyle of Schalke, has been the entire split. If you to write a book that said how to play League of Legends ABC or League of Legends for Dummies, you would use Schalke examples, because they do everything by the book, they do everything by the numbers. Vitality, the Chaos style, the team that look for some of these inventive picks, like the Karthus mid with Smite, like even the Graves this game as well, something we really don't see that much in the jungle. But it just didn't work out for them today.
Yeah, but like we said, the silver lining is, just to make some adjustments. I'm actually curious if Vitality are going to try to run back the same maneuver and then just hope this time that not everything falls apart at level 1 and continue to explore with this double smite.
Yeah, we'll see if Vitality decide to do that, if they go for something more conventional. But to get more insight on Schalke's win, we're going to hand it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Medic. Well, what a game that was to start out the series. Schalke will be incredibly happy with that, up at 1-0 over Vitality. And Vitality probably just wants to forget it right now. However, we're going to dive as deep into it as we can, because you had so much to say, you both, about the strategy that was behind the theory that Vitality was trying to run. So tell me, how is this supposed to work?
Yeah, so I love the theory. Again, execution didn't work, but ultimately what you're trying to do when you go for 2 smites, double jungle, you have 2 very fast clearers in the Graves as well as the Karthus. And the ultimate idea is that you should be farming 3 quadrants of your jungle. It's about denying the Sejuani while getting those 2, I guess, junglers ahead. So what they do is they split the map at level 1, and that also helps because you have like a weak bot lane too, so you deny resources from the Caitlyn Morgana. So it was all about making the map split happen. It just did not happen.
All right, so what was the first mistake?
The first mistake was giving 3 kills to Caitlyn at level 1 and just slowing everything down.
But in this plan, for people who don't know about it, are you actually supposed to go in and contest very early and find an early fight, or at least push them out of their jungle?
Yeah, I mean, so I think you have to, because the idea, again, is you want to take away the enemy red buff and Raptors here at level 1, make it so Trick has to play on the opposite side of the jungle and can't do anything. His level 6 is delayed. Then you continue to invade off the enemy Raptor camps, but even though Jiizuke gets it here, ticks over to level 2, he misses a lot of Qs, while Upset is able to get all the damage down to pick up a triple.
Indeed, and the last thing you want is Upset to get a triple when he's on his Caitlyn. Already, Moose, you were saying beforehand, you saw the Caitlyn pick come out, and you already said, hey, this is probably a Schalke win. Why was that?
Yeah, so we used to play this a lot, Caitlyn Morgana against Rakan, and on blue side, it's incredibly good for Caitlyn Morgana. So the main thing is that Xayah or Rakan at level 6 need jungle intervention to make that happen. Now, if you're playing double smite and you're playing for farm, essentially, you're probably not going to have a lot of jungle intervention on bot side. You could see that Karthus was even trying this game, but it was so difficult to actually find engage on Caitlyn Morgana. Along with that, Upset is a fantastic Caitlyn, and this team is a Caitlyn specialist. They've been playing Caitlyn for ages, ever since Upset's been on Schalke, so it was comfort against,
a plan.
Whatever Vitality,
yeah, it was a plan. Now, you were saying, Ender, okay, this is a theory behind it, and it looks to me like you actually think this can work, and you were a fan of it if executed perfectly.
So the hard thing is that, like, I can see the theory behind it. We haven't seen it in a long time. Like, the last time I remember it was actually last summer when Jiizuke also played the smite mid on the Karthus. So it's hard to say if it's actually good because we just haven't seen it done recently, but I do understand the theory.
So you would say it came down to the micro mistakes made, because in theory, you have the picks. In theory, you're supposed to contest. He gets the objective, but then is when they should have just walked away? Or?
Right. I mean, it's hard to say they should have walked away. I think Jactroll went in very deep right there, like almost between those 2 towers, right next to that Raptor camp bush. So they ended up going too far, and this is a consistent mistake we see out of Jactroll on Vitality. It's individual players saying, I can get a 3-man knockup. Well, that's great, Jactroll. You landed it, but your team can't follow.
That is where I was trying to get at. It seems to me like it's quite a complicated move to try and pull in this first game and in this important best of 5, when you know that that's exactly something you've had issues with. However, if played out, we would have praised them to no end, right, Moose? So yesterday, when we looked at Rogue, and Finn said we're going to try something special in the first game, which they did with the Yuumi Garen, you said you actually prefer that. I like teams to pull out a weird strategy or a new pick or whatever, because then the team is on their toes, rather. But when it doesn't work out, what do you do now as Vitality?
So the thing with is I imagine Vitality probably practiced at level 1 a lot in scrims. And so it's strange you rarely see a team that brings in something new for game one make a mistake this drastic, because you've generally drilled that for that specific game one. You plan your whole best of 5 around that. The idea is that if you get a win, then you've shown no cards because you still have to play your regular games. But now you've seen their cards and they have to adapt. But here in this scenario, you can almost imagine that game 2 is basically a reset for Vitality. Like they should not really be worried about it. But Schalke, on the other hand, they've shown their priorities on blue side now. So if Vitality is actually prepared and if they're playing well as a team in standard League of Legends, then they have some insight for blue side.
Okay, that is actually quite interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. I do want to take a look at some more replays. There's not much to show you. but,
Let's show Attila killing things.
Sorry,
not Attila.
Ender, you had one job. Afterwards, this goes commercial where Trick is in that jungle. They're going to get some kills top, mid, and bottom. And this is just one of those snowballs that is incredibly hard to stop. And even though Vitality got some kills on the berth, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, it was always Vitality reacting to Schalke in a lot of these cases, except around the bottom lane. And that was Jiizuke continually going towards this lane. But you can see he fell super behind in terms of golden experience off of the place and not being able to actually take away any of the enemy jungle camps. So they just fell hopelessly behind.
Okay, so Vitality picked blue for the next game. So they're going to get that first pick. Do you guys agree with that, or would you have stayed on red?
It's interesting. Blue side, generally, the team that comes from blue has their draft prepared. But I would have imagined Vitality would take red again because I haven't really shown anything on red side. You know what Schalke's blue side plan is, so I was assuming that Vitality would come with a response to that plan.
Yeah, and Vitality is also a team that almost always chooses red side to get counterpick for Cabochard in most cases. This game, they took the Jayce very early on, so it actually wasn't along those lines of that strategy. So I wonder if this is going to be a more bot lane focused game out of Vitality where they try to get the winning 2v2 matchup for Attila and Jactroll.
Yeah, or Yamato, the mastermind, has a plan in mind after what he's seen in game 1.
Now, the other side of it is maybe they know that they have a specific blue side comp that they want to play, so what they're basically saying is, we're going to play this comp for game 2, and then when we're red side, we already have an answer prepared for it as well. So maybe Yamato is a mastermind. He's thinking 2 games ahead.
Or maybe we're looking too far into it, and Schalke is just going to 3-0. I definitely hope not. Not again. Come on, Vitality. Show us what you got. Schalke, though, they are back in the playoffs, and what a return it's been so far as they look to get match point versus Vitality. Game 2 right after this.